All right, joining us on the news is Kelechi Okoro, head health desk, News Central TV, to discuss more on this. Thank you for joining me, Kelechi.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so now talking about malnutrition is quite a serious, condition, especially in rural areas and with families struggling to feed at the moment. Well, what are the health implications of malnutrition?
Yeah, so majorly the health implications of malnutrition would include, reduced immunity. Of course, if you don't eat properly, your body will not be able to fight infections. Okay, and also we know that malnutrition is more prevalent in children below the age of 5, pregnant and lactating women, and also those that displaced in the IDP camps. So for children, when a child doesn't eat properly, what happens? The child will not be able to grow properly, right? There is reduced growth, stunted growth. There is poor development, low IQ, and also when malnutrition gets so severe, you can have things like organ damage, muscle wasting, and generally the child doesn't just develop well. And then also for adults, we have things like poor fight against infection, that's reduced immunity. And let's not also forget the pregnant women and lactating mothers. If you do not eat properly, you will not be able to feed your newborn baby properly. Pregnancy would not advance as it should be, and then there's increased morbidity and mortality when it comes to child and maternal health.
All right, Kelechi, we see that the malnutrition in northern Nigeria has been blamed on the economy. Now, what are the easier ways to make a meal nutritious in a case where people have little or even nothing to feed on?
Okay, so most of the time people are waiting for external support, but I would say from where you're standing, you should eat locally, you should grow locally, and you also fortify your food locally. For eating locally, there are a lot of good foods, nutritious foods in our African diet. A lot of times we think that the Western diet is better for us, but look locally. For better nutrition, more vegetables, more protein, and more the healthier carbohydrates. We should look at things like, especially in the north, things like millet, sorghum, guinea corn, there's the fura, there's the fonio. There are a lot of foods that are grown locally that are good for the health, and it's also going to help with the malnutrition surge in the north because you don't have to wait for food to be transported from across the country or from wherever, right? So you just look locally, right? And then for fortifying locally, there's this food that's really popular for Nigerians, not just for children, also for adults. Okay, pap. When you take just pap without anything, you're just taking carbohydrates, but you have to fortify with vitamins, with crayfish, with locally available products like groundnuts, nuts, grains. And I forgot to mention when I was talking about the carbohydrate foods, right? Things like wheat, whole wheat, rice, yes, rice, but we should go towards the healthier rice, which is the brown rice, and are locally made of fada rice. So these are things you can source for locally. And lastly, let's grow also locally. Stop waiting for food to come to you. We have, fertile land, although there's a lot of problems with, the climate change and harsh weather conditions. But when you do local gardening, home gardening, there are some foods that you can actually grow around you, and that will also reduce wasting.
All right, now these you've actually, listed are, ways that, parents can actually, things they can actually do to be able to, end malnutrition. But what about the stakeholders, government, NGOs, and, everyone involved? What else can be done to effectively address the issue of malnutrition, especially in rural areas?
Yeah, that's a very important question because, I mean, we cannot do it alone, especially the individuals and with the scarce resources that they have around them. Nutrition education is very important, both at the community level and also during antenatal I keep talking about the children and the women during antenatal, not just about the health, directly, nutrition for this demography, right? And also community-based initiatives where local leaders, traditional rulers, and religious leaders are brought into the conversation because there's a lot of religious and cultural sentiments that would make people not to accept new diets or promote the local diet that is better for their health. Okay, this will really help. That's for the community-based initiatives and also effective and strategic interventions. We see even government going into IDP camps with poor nutritious foods, right? The rice, and also there's a lot of foreign foods and processed foods going into these IDP camps and those who need these nutritious foods. We should think about effective and strategic intervention programs for this demography and this set of people. And also, we know how malnutrition would affect not just the health of the individuals, but also the health economy generally. So if the government doesn't get things right in their intervention processes, they would have to spend more on food, spend more on humanitarian assistance. So also for the IDP advocacy groups, the NGO groups, we should also do the same, like I've said, for the government. Everybody has to put their hands together to make sure that we curb or we reduce or end malnutrition, not just in the Northeast, in Nigeria.
All right, thank you so much, Kelechi Okoro, Head Health Desk, News Central TV, for enlightening us and also joining us at this time to discuss this.
All right, thank you very much. Your health and your happiness is my concern.
Thank you so much.